Right. What they're engaged in is actually psychological torture, and it was decades of it. Now, that was a real call, but that's the effect of what they did. So what they used to do is call payphones when I passed the payphone. That's how it started. Actually, I take it back. They would call and hang up at my residence. Right. Now, the key is that they're running the operations years before they come above board and say they're running the operation. So the Gilgo Beach case is most likely that guy paid somebody. But when push comes to shove, what's he going to say? I paid somebody? Can't say it, right? And he knows what the deal is, right? He's an architect. He knows that system exists. Through my brother and my mother, I could realize when I got out of the government by being conversational about it, just neutral and conversational about the system that they believed existed. I could find out what they did to people's heads. My brother had been a CFO and all of that, and an engineer, and went to lead president of his fraternity. So I could understand how this all evolved and what they were doing to their minds and what they believed about the system. Right? And there were other people also. All you have to do is act natural, just start talking about it. Some people won't talk about it, but some people will. Right. So essentially, the Gilgo Beach guy probably paid somebody. Now, is there a chance that he didn't pay? Of course. I didn't physically investigate it, but based upon what I've seen over the years, training and experience, most of my experience being attacked by those that were trained to know better, right? Right. I could figure out what was going on there. So the Gilgo Beach guy, the case was being used on Long Island and maybe other places in New York to intimidate, to harass, to extort people. And the people that they're doing this to, via inference online, maybe walking past them and speaking out as if they're on their phone, right? Maybe license plates, bumper stickers, whatever they want to use. Right. They're also contacting Walmart saying this is a dangerous guy. And then Walmart does their thing. But the people at Walmart know what they're doing. They know they're part of something, secret society, which is obviously illegal. Right. But there are other places too. Just because I say Walmart, well, not. They're an LDS, they're everywhere. Right. They're the beast. And one of their biggest goals is to appear as angels of light and ministers of righteousness. Now, the billionaires have developed programs, the algorithms, to cause people not to appear that way. Right? So again, they've developed algorithms to cause people to fall. That's their intention. And we know who that is. Right? You have people in the Bible that can't be forgiven. Right? I see how far they were going to go with the Christianity thing. Boy, they were so mad when I started saying Jesus again. But again, his name isn't really Jesus. Right? Well, even the Pope should start, what I have to say, the Pope should hear it, and the Pope should start thinking about where Christianity ended up. Right? Well, one of the things, if you're the Pope, you have a lot of trappings. So again, the Pope is always stuck because it's a political position, kind of, right? It's the politics of the church. I mean, politics of theocracy, the politics of, in some cases, charity, right? But that's why Rabbi Yeshua made a simpler system, right? That makes it easier. Well, that's how the deep state gets them every time. You got a church, you need money. The deep state can run everybody out of your church until you do what they want, and then they run everybody back in your church. Right. So one of the examples is, I'm talking to this home church guy, and he's got nobody in his church. Okay? If he has nobody in his church, I'm the guy that calls him. I'm the guy he focuses on, right? Right. I'm the guy who might be attending his church. I'm the guy who put. So what do? They put in like, he hadn't had people in his church in like a year, except for a couple people, and they're gone or something. It was like a really bad. So they put like 10, 15 people in his church, his home church, and no longer am I a priority. See? Very easy to read what you're doing, all of you. Well, if you Google home church, he's going to come up. If you Google church, he's going to come up. Or there's a national service, and what happens is the cops will worm their way in. And a lot of times they'll present to the church that this is some law enforcement function. But at a certain point, it's overwhelmingly obvious that it's corruption. Right? No, what happens is because they engaged in something that they're not happy, proud of. All these church people and all these Jews and all these people in Sikh religion and all that, they're gonna sacrifice their neighbor. We agree. Now I have to go pick up stuff from Costco because I have. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to pick this stuff up in Pennsylvania. If I go to, there's no Costco near where I live, so there's Costco calling with my appointment time. Right. I thought it was tomorrow. It's today. That's weird. Well, because they get overwhelmed sometimes, so they require appointments for stupid shit like just walking in and picking something up. So it's not really like an appointment. It's I walk in, he gives it to me, I walk out. Right. But I understand because they sell hearing aids like nobody else. So the idea of the hearing aid with my life, if I would have received it in 2013 when I was supposed to, my whole life would have been different. Right. Thank you, Larry. Thanks, Larry. So again, I'm sure the deep state had something to do with it. It could be it's not just Satan's stance. Satan's stance means somebody is metaphysically cursing it. That's what Satan's stance means. It doesn't mean it's independent of the LDS Church. It doesn't mean it's independent of the Marshal Service. It doesn't mean it's independent of DOJ or whoever else is the criminal and the devil in it. Right. It just means that Satan is powering it metaphysically. So that's why they act physically, because when they did this to me in the LDS Church, now they got a crease way over my life. And Satan timed it because I'm about to move. Right. Thank you, there. Somebody definitely screwed up my billing on my insurance. Right. And I believe that is actually physical. Oh, there's that. I was looking for this. I couldn't find this. I got plenty of this triple antibiotic ointment now. Now, I purchased it from Amazon. I couldn't find the package, and I just found it. Again, that's part of what they do, cause things to disappear right in front of your eyes. I've seen it. I know it's metaphysical. I know it's not physical. It's weird when you can see and know what they're doing. And again, some of the seeing came from them going over. You can't go over by cursing someone, or they can start to tell that it's metaphysical. Now, if you can tell, my stuff is starting to move upon the earth again, the information I provided for so many years since I woke up. Because now we have somebody who helped with finding a missing person. I said, yeah, I had a dream and it was in there. And it's like I say, it's not like, oh, the body's here. It says, well, it's due diligence. It's like I talk about metaphysical due diligence. We'll make a team of women and they'll figure it out. Right. I don't will anything on you, so don't say it's my will. If it's anything, it's God's will, but I doubt it's God's will because God's will is not done on this planet. Plain and simple. Well, we should, I think if I remember correctly, last September, I actually should be working for the Department of Labor. I'm the only person that really knows what's going on. Or everybody else is just doing political stuff, so it doesn't make any sense. Like even people in the public can't formulate off of what the Department of Labor releases, even under Biden and anyone else, too. It's all, it's like not public, it's for public consumption, I guess. That's the best way to say it. Well, last September, I think we had the downturn, and I said in October, we should have, like August, September, I said we should have well, the fiscal funds and see, and then you talk about government spending, but government spending is what's driving the economy. So you see, it's insane what you're all not like actually sitting down and figuring anything out. You're all not geniuses. You just play this political game and publicity and propaganda and forcing people and firing, and it doesn't work that way. Well, you can get away from government money, but the government money is what was funding the economy. Right. Well, I mean, you can call it socialism all you like, but the mom and pop kettle, it's lunch and dinner. And school supplies for the kids. I agree, Larry. Well, it's not direct. It's not always the government directly giving to the people. It's the government, putting those contracts out there. Right. I think if Biden would have dropped the tariffs, now the deficit was an issue. So again, that's probably why I didn't do it. But if he dropped the tariffs, he probably would have dropped inflation. I'm not a fan of tariffs, I'll just tell you that, because I think the people are going to end up paying for it anyway. You're saying people are going to make money off it. I think the big bosses are going to make money off it. I'm just telling you that. I've never seen it where the people make money off of something like that. Right. Now, the plan I gave you, which you look like you want to start doing, is this investment account. When somebody's born, that's my stuff. I'm the one who came up with it, nobody else on the planet. That'll put everybody into the market, then you'll be able to pay them with market money. But because people are being cursed out of the market, you can't get in. Right? Your life falls apart before you get to the market. Right? Well, why is that? Like there's some reason. That's their big scam. If they yell, why is that? There's some reason why they're doing it that has some sort of virtue or some sort of good reasoning. Sorry. They're not sorry. It's something they push through every day. While the next person picks up and makes their bit of money. Everybody making their 30 pieces of silver. It's been noted, and you'll all be moved off to hell when it comes time. It made responsibility to stay away from me. Right. That's where the real responsibility is, not some responsibility to monitor my life or something. They monitor it. They know the deal. They monitor to destroy it. People used to bring up, they feared everybody into talking about the fusion centers and who they're hiring and putting in the fusion centers. They ran psyops around it because now everybody's quiet about it. Right. But there's a reason why all the people that work in the fusion centers have such questionable histories. It's designed that way. Right. You put the crooks in. Right. I mean, no, there's too much volatility right now to know what next month and the next month. Again, it's going to be October, so you won't see it till November. So I think that's what happened. I think last year. Like right after the election, they released information or something that showed that the economy was bouncing back. Right. But it's like ignorance. Right. Well, because everybody knows there's downturns and upturns in the annual cycle. Right. Used to be a little better control because everything's so volatile now that everybody's moving this way and that way that it's hard to gauge like it used to be easier. Well, socialism could work, but you can't be corrupt, and I don't know if there's any. Capitalism could work, but you can't be corrupt. So I don't know if there's any system that ever is going to work again because there's so much corruption. I mean, it works for some of you. You're rich, but you're going to hell. Do you understand that, all of you? Well, I gave charity money. So like they don't even know nobody knows the scripture and what it actually says to begin with. But even what the Christians teach isn't even understood by or even taught right to begin with for based upon Christian thought. Now there's a higher level of knowledge is that thing that we wrestle against. So you combine that with Paul, so they're causing that need for charity. And then they come along and they administer charity, but it's all BS. So Paul kind of had the information. And again, I'm reminded, and Paul's mind reminded me, there's additional information that we don't have. There's additional metaphysical information that was destroyed. Yeah, so the thing is to understand that if Rabbi Yeshua didn't exist, then the rest didn't exist either, which it's easy to say one guy didn't exist, but you're going to tell me that all, 20 didn't exist, right? Now, if you think of Rabbi Yeshua ben David, and it's not Messianic Judaism, just think of him as a rabbi with rabbinical teachings, and just, if you're a little uncomfortable with the Messianic side of it, just stay away from that, and just look what you have to actually go to some other. You can't go to like the King James version and get there probably. You actually have to. What you do is you sit down with all the versions. So that Bible hub is very important, right? Because you can look at all the different versions and kind of look and get a feel for. Again, you have to see into it, right? And then you'll see the rabbinical teachings, and it revolves. A lot of it revolves around the evil eyes and they had taken. The evil eyes had taken power in the Sanhedrin. That's what happened to, because Rome installed them, right? So that's what happened to Yeshua, that's what happened to Rabbi Shimon, that's what happened to Rabbi Akiva. Well, it's kind of a wear-out date. If you're not corrupt before a certain point, they try to kill you. Same thing going on today. Thank you. They give you some time to think about it, and become a Roman lackey. And if you don't become a Roman lackey, or in the day I was in the Mars, a Russian lackey. Well, the Gilgo Beach case was used to extort other people. I'm sure of it. Right. So they could have they may have been able to solve it from like the first month. But say, hey, this guy's got money. He may have already been in something. Because he could have been like a deep state dude, and that's where he gets the idea to kill people and will get away with it, right? Or, the CIA could have created him out of thin air, or the Russians, anybody, Chinese. And then they play with it to see what they can manipulate with it. Right. Now, a lot of these PIs actually working for foreign governments. Who you all fooling? Get paid like $1 million like 15 years ago, and then 5 years after they paid it, they get their first assignment, right? Regular. Now, I'm sure India's spy agencies are propping up their people in our country and killing our people. There's no doubt at this point, right? You can imagine who's part of that. Good old FBI sex toy women and men. There's sex toys for the FBI and the Marshal Service and the HSI bosses and DOJ bosses, and now they're the experts of low Christ is here, low Christ is not there. Low sex crime is here, low sex crime is not there. So you can do it, investigate by the Bible all day long. Well, stay